What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about 7 reasons why being a filmmaker is amazing. And I never really know what to call myself, so I think that's what I'm going to title this video, but I see myself as more than just a filmmaker. I'm also a photographer, cinematographer, maybe a DP, and also largely an editor. So I think just using the term filmmaker doesn't really do it much justice, but that's the term I think I'm gonna go with just for the title of this video. So anyways, in this video, I am not going to be giving any sort of film lessons or tutorials or anything like that. I wanna keep my channel mostly geared towards stuff like that, less opinions, more actual lessons. But for this video, this is something I just had to get out there. As with any career where you are essentially just working for yourself, which is what I do. I'm sure there's a lot of different methods you can go about being the type of person who I am, you know, creating films, working on different sets. You know, maybe you just do photography for a certain company. Maybe you are, you know, an in-house videographer for an ad agency or something like that. I'm not sure. I pretty much just work for myself. So anyway, without further ado, let's dive into my top 7 reasons why being a filmmaker is amazing. Okay, so reason number 1 is freedom. And these are in no order, but this might be the strongest one, to be honest. And to start off this reason, I'm gonna start with a little story. So I know a friend of mine whose father had a job. He was high up in a company. It's a corporate company. If I mentioned the name, everybody would know what it was. And he got fired. He just flat out got fired. He is literally back to square one. And I think this was a little while ago. I think he's back on his feet now. But point being is, he got knocked down to square one even after 20 years of consistent work for this company. You'd think that you'd have some security after that amount of time. The overall point here I'm trying to make is that even after somebody was working at a job for 20 some years, right, and you have all these relationships and you've developed you know, some sort of a skill for doing whatever position that is, you can still just get fired. You could still just get knocked back down to square one, and then it's like, shoot, now, you know, he winds up on fucking food stamps. He winds up on, you know, looking at want ads in the newspaper or whatever it may be. I don't know how you go about finding actual jobs these days, because I've never had to even do that. Point being, though, is he was never free, right? That's the whole point here. If you're a filmmaker, if you work for yourself, you know, your skill and your talent is no one can take that from you. You know, it's yours to have, and it only gets better and better and better as time goes on. So sure, you might lose a gig here and there. Sure, you might, you know, mess up a job, or maybe a client's unhappy, or maybe it's just, you know, respectfully not a good fit between you and someone you're working with. But point is that doesn't ever matter, because you have a skill that cannot be taken away from you. You are irreplaceable. And that, my friends, is actual freedom. The value that you possess is the thing that actually causes the freedom, right? Being a valuable individual, being a valuable member of society, being an asset in the workplace, in some degree, is what's actually causing you to be valuable, right? My friend's dad, although he may have, you know, worked his way up in the company that he was at, and although he may have had, you know, some status in that company, he actually didn't have that crazy or that unique of a skill. I don't think he was actually that valuable. And so that's why once he was fired from that job, he's back to square one. He's at a loss. He doesn't know what to do. Whereas if I lost all my clients right now, I wouldn't even sweat it, because I know with basically 100% confidence that I'll find more maybe that same day. I hope none of this comes off as cocky, but I truly feel like I am free. I'm a free person, and I am only 24. And I think that's a really crazy, beautiful, insane thing. Is it's really only up from here. And the reason being is because no one can take the skill from me. So that's pretty much it for reason number 1. On to reason number 2. We're good to just leave right now? All right. Cool. All right. Didn't have to pay for the parking lot today. The second reason why being a filmmaker is really the move in today's society is because it's so in demand, right? This is not anything new. This is pretty obvious. Obviously, everyone and their brother is on social media these days. This includes businesses. This includes individuals who are looking to market their businesses. or even just themselves, whatever it may be. Everyone needs content, right? This is nothing new. This to me is worth mentioning though, because other similar creative outlets, maybe you're just super drawn to painting, or maybe you're just super drawn to architecture, or sculpting, or I don't know, you name it. None of these other things are gonna make you the same amount of money that doing video does. Even photography is at least as far as I can tell, slowly getting phased out. So if you can produce high quality videos and you actually like to do so and you're passionate about it, in the same way that, a painter is passionate about his artwork, or a sculptor, XYZ person is passionate about their work. If you're passionate about videos like that, it's seriously a no-brainer as far as what you should do for work. Got a bit brighter outside, gonna ND down a little bit. That should do it. Reason number 3 is that filmmaking and photography and video and editing and all this stuff, just creative stuff, right? It's a opportunity for massive personal growth, right? It's a way that you can always pretty much indefinitely just keep growing as a person. You can keep getting better and better and better at video and filmmaking and all this stuff. And this goes for any art form. You can pretty much get infinitely better at it as time goes on. And that just really helps as far as mental health goes. That helps as far as personal development goes. My one friend described it to me as, you're like playing a video game and you're on level 10,000, but there's just infinite levels. And I see it like that. I don't play video games anymore, because why would I play a video game starting from square one when I could play, my actual work, my actual job and career, and the thing that I am creatively invested in and passionate about, and advance from level 10,000, whatever it is, right? So that's a huge component here. This is, again, more of an obvious one, but it's just something to take into account. Some people have their work and then their creative thing over here, and I think what happens then is, by splitting it, you have your job, and it's a job, and then you have your creative thing. And because you have a job and the job isn't your creative thing, you're never able to actually focus that much on your creative thing. And so you don't really grow that much from it. You don't really ever get to become a master at it. And I think doing this as a job is the thing that has caused me to become very good at it, and will continue to cause me to become better and better and better at it, infinitely, as I've described. So the first point I made was that being a filmmaker allows you to be free, right? Now, the type of freedom I meant in that case is you're never going to be knocked down. You're never going to really be knocked off your horse. You have a certain skill set, and that skill set warrants you to be able to generate an income pretty much indefinitely, assuming the demand for video stays there, right? And I don't see it going away. So that's the sort of freedom I was talking about in point number 1. In this point, I think we're on number 4. This one is more so about your freedom of your how you structure your life, right? So I'm somebody who really hated school, right? I hated high school, and then I got to college, and college was cool because, you had more freedom to, pick your schedule and go about your day, and you could skip class if you wanted to, and all that, blah, blah, blah. But I hated when other people told me what to do, right? In any sense of it, right? You got to get up at this time, you have to wear this, you have to have a certain set hours for something, you have to be here at this time. And that's not to say these things don't happen in a filmmaking career, right? But they don't happen as much. They don't happen nearly on a daily basis. And for the most part, you're the one that's choosing all these things, right? Some of the ways in which I am free as a filmmaker are as follows. I can wear what I want, sleep when I want, eat when I want, work when I want, take on as many or as few clients as I want, charge what I want most of the time, create exactly what I want most of the time, answer to nobody but myself in general, again, most of the time for that one too. And to put all this as simply as possible, I get to structure my days however I want. I get to live a life on my own terms, right? That's pretty much the most beautiful thing that I could ask for, right? Living a life like this enables you to encounter very little resistance, right? Now, what do I mean by resistance? So when you're in high school, and I don't know if you guys watching this can relate to this, when you're in high school, the alarm goes off and your mind is just automatically, oh crap, like I have to do things I don't want to do, right? You are mentally resisting waking up, right? And then the bus is arriving, right? And, you know, it's like you're savoring those moments in between the things you don't have to do. You know, as you're waiting for the bus to get there, it's like, okay, I'm chill, right? And then the bus gets there and you're a step closer to school. And, you know, first period rolls around and you're like, oh my gosh, just get through it. And then you're just savoring getting to lunch period. And at the end of the day, you know, you're drained. You know, you've had an entire day where your mind was kind of just resisting the entire thing that was happening, right? You were never able to, at least I was never able to just accept that I had to do what I had to do. It was always this constant psychological battle because people were telling me what I had to do. And at least in my opinion, it is much easier to get up and work hard and do things very effectively and efficiently and really just focus on your work and focus on doing a good job without encountering that much resistance. I'm making a YouTube video.
What's up, YouTube? My name is and welcome to Three Leash Dog Behavior.
They can't hear you. The mic's not on. All right. So what's the downside to working or living every day on your own terms? Well, here I am on a Saturday. We're here at my good friend Smed's office, and we're here to just, you know, crank out some work. So the downside here is you have to be disciplined and you have to be committed and driven to the point where you are dedicating your life to this. You know what I mean? And that, I think, goes for any sort of entrepreneurial endeavor. It simply requires a lot of dedication. I would say dedication is the main word to it. And luckily, when you're passionate about something, being dedicated is a lot easier than if you absolutely hate something and you're just encountering all this psychological, gross resistance all the time towards it. So I'm actually completely fine spending my Saturday here working on stuff like this. Pretty much everything in life at the end of the day is a trade-off, right? We make one decision and forego something else. And the trade-off for me here is something I'm completely okay with, right? Because filmmaking is something that requires a lot of discipline and dedication and requires you to work pretty much all the time, right? All my days are pretty much the same. I don't really look at weekdays and weekends as two different things. Although I am foregoing a lot of what normal people would consider to be free time or leisure time or me time or anything like that, I look at my whole life kind of like that because at the end of the day, I'm doing exactly what I want to do for the most part, most of the time. Doing some photo editing today, so complete darkness. So the fifth reason that being a filmmaker is amazing, in my opinion, is because of the social benefits, right? And what do I mean by social benefits? Well, being a creative person, filmmaker, photographer, cinematographer, whatever, is very interesting, right? It's something that you can actually talk about in social situations, and people will be like, "Oh, that's cool," and you know, you can show them your work, and people get excited about it, you know. So this is not something that comes with a lot of other jobs. Now, the other part of this is since you love what you do for a living, and you're spending most of your time doing something you love, you sort of consistently radiate this positive energy, right? So it's not only that the job itself is interesting and other people might find that it's interesting and you can show people your work, but it's also that you yourself love it and you're spending all your time on it. So you yourself will be positive most of the time. So let's compare this to something like, let's say, an accountant, right? So pretty much no matter what, in social situations, people aren't really gonna care if you're an accountant, right? Even if you're really successful, they'll be like, "Oh, cool, you're a successful accountant," and that's pretty much it, right? Now, as far as the energy side of things goes, I'm sure people love being an accountant. Being an accountant, I'm sure, is a very lucrative career, and that might make you really happy, right? You still might radiate that same positive energy all the time. But I don't think this is typical. I feel like corporate work, corporate America, the typical, you know, run-of-the-mill 9-to-5 jobs don't cause you to have the same passion and lust for life that you have when you're actually successfully doing something with your career that you really, really do enjoy. Okay, time to hop back in the car for reason number 6. What up, Goose? Gas light is on. Will we stop for gas? Stay tuned to find out. The 6th reason being a filmmaker is amazing, in my opinion, is another big one, right? So this reason has to do with the fact that your work sells itself, right? So the comparison that I always tell people is, let's say you're a car salesman, right? And it's your job to sell cars off the lot And every time you make a sale, you get paid a certain amount of money. You get paid commission. And it's similar with videos, right? You have to sell yourself, and then you go do a job. You're not, selling a car off a lot. You're creating somebody a video or something. But a lot of the same principles of business still apply, right? You have to market yourself. You have to sell yourself a lot, right? In order to consistently get work, consistently get clients, and consistently get sales, and consistently make money, right? Now, the thing with selling videos is that every time you sell one, you've effectively sold an ad for yourself, because when that person shows other people that video, and usually it is for advertising purposes, people are not only interested in the thing that the video is advertising, but also in the video itself. And a lot of times, if the video is good enough, and assuming that you do good work as the videographer, people will want to know who made it. So this is where a lot of my work comes from, right? It's not necessarily word of mouth. It's just the fact that people are seeing my work out there floating around in the world. Back to the car salesman comparison, if somebody buys a car from a car salesman and then that person's out in the world driving it, no one's looking at that car and being like, oh, like, I wonder who he bought it from. It doesn't really work like that. Same thing with pretty much everything else. Whereas videos, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I like this video. Who made this video? I also need a video created. Let me find out who made this video and reach out to that person. The seventh and final reason for today to conclude our video is kind of a smaller one, but it's very important to me, right? And this is one that, again, goes with any sort of creative endeavor. Reason number 7 is that you have a product that you're producing, right? You're not just spending your time writing business. You're not just spending your time doing factory work. You're not spending your time, I don't know, I'm just thinking of other careers right now where you're sort of just using your time, and then once your time is used and your day is done, you really have no product. You really have no result. This was a large reason why I hated school so much, is because even if you had a project, right, let's say it was an essay you had to write, once that essay was done, you turned it in, and then the teacher throws it away, and it's on to the next one. And there's really nothing you're creating that you can look back on and say, wow, look at that. Look at all that work I put into that. I'm so proud that I spent as much time as I did. And you have this glorious, amazing final product to look at, right? With all careers, you have a financial track record, right? You could say, okay, I have done X amount of work, and that is being kept track of by how much money I've earned by doing that work, right? And this is still the case with videography. But with video and photo and, again, other creative endeavors, there is a final product that you can look back on and you can be proud of, and it's something that you can have forever. With that, those are my top 7 reasons of why being a filmmaker rocks. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope you guys got value from this. If you're an aspiring filmmaker, I hope this sort of inspires you and motivates you to sort of go after that as a career. I would highly recommend it, especially in today's day and age. As I've said, it's just amazing. I mean, it's such an awesome thing to do with your life. So that's really all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It really means the most, helps the channel grow. And really, that is all I have for you today. Thank you again, and I'll see you guys in the next video.